Hello everyone, welcome back. It is day 2 to our New Year Healthy Habits series. Here's a little screenshot of our calendar for this week. So we are looking at our first pillar of lifestyle medicine today, which is whole food, plant-based nutrition. For the next 6 days, we'll take a look at each of the pillars closely. Then week 2, we'll jump into some goal-setting activities. Week 3, we'll look at literature and evidence-based medicine. And week 4, we'll put things into practice. So let's get started. Day 2, looking at a whole food, plant-based nutrition or diet. So this is the plate, a little graphic of the plate that the American College of Lifestyle Medicine supports. As you can see, about half the plate on the left side there is fruits and veggies. A quarter of the plate is whole grains, and another quarter of the plate is plant proteins. So the American College of Lifestyle Medicine does endorse a plant-focused diet, meaning that the protein source is from plants as opposed to animal sources. So let's get into what this all means. So what is a plant protein? Plant proteins are primarily legumes, which are peas and beans, kidney beans, pinto beans, black beans, garbanzo beans, as well as lentils, tofu or edamame, and nuts and seeds. So this may seem like a little bit of a limited list if we are used to consuming animal-based protein on the daily basis, but there are some significant advantages to plant protein as opposed to animal protein. Plant protein tends to be significantly higher in fiber as well as antioxidants, and it tends to be significantly lower in fats and cholesterol than animal proteins. Let's take a look at the other portions of our whole food plant-based diet plate, which part of it is going to be whole grain. So what's the difference between a whole grain versus a not whole grain? So on the left side here, we have the anatomy of a grain. Who would have thought that we could get anatomy of a tiny little thing like this, but you definitely can. So the grain is made up of 3 different parts. The outermost layer is called the bran. And the bran is a tough, protective shell, basically. And this is super high in fiber, B vitamins, antioxidants. The germ is that little brown part at the bottom, and that's basically our nutrient-rich core. So it's a small inner part of the grain that has the potential to sprout into a new plant. So this is the seed. So it's super rich in healthy fats, vitamin E, B vitamins, as well as phytochemicals. And then the endosperm, that's the yellow part in the middle, it's the largest part of the grain, and it basically provides energy for the germ or for the developing plant. So it's super high in carbohydrates. So carbohydrates basically break down into sugar in our bodies. So a whole grain is going to contain all 3 of these parts of the grain, versus a not whole grain usually just contains endosperm. So the processed foods that we tend to eat, such as white rice, white bread, regular pastas, cornflakes, couscous, pastries, cakes, cookies, bagels, crackers, instant oatmeal and pizza dough, tend to be made primarily of endosperm, where our whole grains, such as whole wheat, brown rice, oats, quinoa, barley, farro, bulgur wheat, millet, and buckwheat, tend to contain all 3. So why is this important? Mostly because of fiber. So what is fiber and why is it good for you? So fiber is insoluble, meaning our body, we consume it, but our body does not absorb it. It mostly just stays in our gastrointestinal tract from the mouth until we go to the bathroom and get rid of it. So fiber is super important in supporting digestive health. It promotes regularity, so we can go to the bathroom on a regular schedule and we don't get too backed up. It also feeds our gut microbiome. So we have a bunch of different bacteria living in our gut biome that are super beneficial to our health. They play a role in digestion and immunity as well. A high-fiber diet can also lower the risk of conditions such as diverticulitis, hemorrhoids, and colorectal cancer. Fiber also helps us to maintain a healthy weight, promoting a feeling of fullness. So when we have all 3 components of a grain, for example, as opposed to just the endospore or just the carbohydrate portion of a grain, it makes us feel more full, and it actually reduces our overall calorie intake. It slows our gastric emptying, so it slows the entire gastrointestinal process, which again makes us feel full longer, but it also stabilizes our blood sugar and prevents our body from dumping more hunger hormones into our bloodstream. Fiber also supports our cardiac or our heart health by lowering cholesterol. So fiber that sticks around in our GI tract actually binds to cholesterol, which cholesterol is one of the bad fats in our body that can be super sticky and stick to our blood vessels and cause plaques. So with fiber inside of our GI tract, our body does not absorb as much of that cholesterol and less of it ends up in the bloodstream. So this can this can help with our heart health, but also help reducing our blood pressure by preventing inflammation within our blood vessels. High fiber also regulates our blood sugar. As mentioned before, it slows glucose absorption as well. So having more fiber in the diet prevents sugar spikes and crashes, as well as improving our insulin sensitivity. And high fiber also reduces risk of chronic disease. A huge number of cancers can be kind of prevented, or the risk can be reduced by a high fiber diet, specifically from fruits and vegetables. So it supports our longevity, and people, studies show that people with high fiber diets are significantly less likely to suffer mortality and morbidity from chronic conditions like heart disease and diabetes. So why does diet matter? Diet plays a huge part in something called our modifiable cardiovascular risk factors. So modifiable cardiovascular risk factors are basically things that we do on our daily basis that can play a role in heart disease, heart attack, stroke, arterial disease such as ulcers in the legs. So diet is one of the biggest modifiable cardiovascular risk factors that we have, as well as physical inactivity, tobacco use, excess alcohol consumption, obesity, hypertension, high cholesterol, diabetes, stress, and sleep apnea. So within that list, kind of what we just talked about with fiber, our diet can actually contribute to helping with these other modifiable cardiovascular risk factors as well. For example, a high fiber or a whole food plant-based diet can help stave off obesity. It can help reduce our blood pressure. It can help reduce our cholesterol. It can prevent complications of diabetes. So really this concept of diet and the stuff that we're feeding our body with every single day plays an enormous role in our overall health. So my challenge to you is to try to make at least one of your meals today have the plate look like something like this. Try and incorporate half of the plate of fruits and vegetables, a quarter plate of whole grains, and a quarter plate of plant-based proteins. Just see how you like it. Give it a try because this diet has been proven to have super enormously beneficial results in terms of our health. So here are my resources from today from the American Heart Association as well as the American College of Lifestyle Medicine. Stick around. Tomorrow we'll be talking about our next pillar of lifestyle medicine. Thank you so much.